A rude millionaire underestimated a calm waitress and crossed the line. What happened next left everyone in shock. Hello, welcome and welcome back. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more uplifting stories. Now sit tight, relax, and enjoy. Morning light slid across glass towers and palm-lined roads. The lagoon breeze was cool and people were short on patience. Outside, sleek cars moved in quiet lines past gates and guards. Inside a polished corner diner, plates clicked, cups hissed. And the long chrome machine puffed steam. The floor shone, the counter was marble, the stools wore soft leather. Maya, a 27-year-old black waitress, moved through the noise in a crisp white shirt and black apron. Her hair was pulled into a neat bun. She didn't smile much. Life had trained her to keep her face steady and her voice soft, but she was always calm, always respectful. She knew every table by heart, every regular by their order, and the way they tapped the sugar jar. At booth 9, the mood bent. A man in a navy suit with a heavy watch dropped his cup so hard coffee jumped onto the saucer. "Hey!" he snapped loud enough to slice the talk around him. "Is this brown water what you call coffee?" Maya took one slow breath, turned, and met his eyes. "Good morning, sir. I can get you a fresh cup." Her voice was even. She had learned that raising it never helped. He scoffed. "A fresh cup? I want someone who can actually work." A few heads lifted, forks paused in midair. The cook leaned out from the pass. Maya didn't move. She had heard worse. Once a customer left a note that said she should know her place. She had learned that in this city cruelty often wore fine shoes and a smile. She nodded. "I'll bring a new one, sir." "No," he said, voice rising as he stood. "I want to know how a place like this hires someone like you." The room fell still. Even the kitchen went quiet. A spoon rang against china and rolled in a slow circle. Maya kept her hands behind her back, fingers tight, nails in her palm. He wasn't done. "You people always act like the world owes you. That uniform doesn't make you belong." He tilted his head. "You're just a waitress. Probably can't even spell service. My dog listens better." He smiled quick and mean as if he had scored a point. An older woman gasped. A man in a checked shirt pushed back his chair as if to stand. Without looking, Mia raised a hand, small and steady, asking him not to. She faced the man fully now. When she spoke, her voice did not shake. "Sir, please sit down and let me do my job." He let out a sharp laugh. "Or what? You'll call your manager. I own people like you." He leaned forward, eyes hard. "Always have." The air thinned. The waiter at the counter froze somewhere. Cutlery chimed like a bell. Maya did not plan what happened next. Her body moved faster than her thoughts. She stepped back, pivoted on her heel, and crack. The sole of Maya's black sneaker tapped his chin with a clean snap. His head flew back. He staggered into the booth behind him and dropped onto the vinyl seat. Stunned and blinking. A fork clattered 3 tables away. Someone hissed, "Oh." Another voice whispered, "Did you see that?" The manager's mouth fell open. Coffee steamed and forgot to smell like coffee. Maya stood over him, breath tight in her chest. Her hands shook now, but her eyes were steady. "You don't own anyone," she said, each word clear. "Not today." He touched his lip and stared at the red on his fingers. He looked around for rescue, for someone to defend the rich man against the waitress. No one moved. From the far corner, a slow clap began, then another. Half the room was suddenly applauding. A lady in pearls said, "About time." Under her breath. Maya turned and walked toward the counter, heart beating like a drum. She knew what this might bring. She could be fired, maybe worse. 2 phones were already up, tiny red lights blinking. The teenager by the window kept his camera steady, mouth open. A delivery rider by the door filmed, too, helmet tucked under his arm. Behind her. The man pulled himself upright, one hand at his jaw. Rage flushed through his face. "You're finished," he barked. "Do you know who I am? I'm Victor Hale. You'll never work in this town again." His voice cracked on never. Thin with shock. Maya turned and met his stare. "I've worked 3 jobs to stay alive," she said. "If I never pour another cup, so be it. No one gets to shame me and walk away." Her knees felt like water, but her words were iron. The door swung open. A tall woman in a navy coat and heels stepped in. Breath quick, eyes scanning. A driver waited outside beside a black sedan. "Victor," she called. "What happened?" He jabbed a finger toward Maya. "She attacked me." The woman blinked, then looked at the room. Most faces were hard and quiet. Turned against him. "Attacked?" she asked, voice low. "I just got 5 messages saying you were shouting racist words at a waitress." Her phone buzzed again in her hand. Victor's jaw tightened. A hum of talk rose and died again. Even the cook stepped out to see. Apron streaked with flour, arms folded. The woman's gaze returned to Victor, steady as stone. "Explain," she said. "Lawyers," Victor spat. "We're pressing charges." The woman did not look away. She slid a phone from her coat pocket and lifted it, screen bright. Around them, the diner held its breath, the hush thin as glass. "No," she said. "We're going to watch this. All of it." She held up her phone. A live stream filled the screen. The teen by the window had filmed everything. The first sharp insult. Maya's calm answer, the taunts, the moment of the kick. The room could hear the drip of the machine and the ugly words for word. Comments flew up the side of the video so fast they blurred. "Fire him. Protect her. We see you, Maya." In less than 30 minutes, the view count had climbed past 2 million. Shares stacked up like tiles. Victor's mouth opened, then closed. His own phone started to buzz on the table. "I was provoked," he said weakly. "No," the woman answered. "You were exposed." She turned the phone so he couldn't look away. "People are already tagging our partners. If this grows, sponsors step back, the share price dips, and the board, who already doubts you, takes action." Her tone was calm, but the words were heavy. Somewhere, a cash drawer snapped shut like a judge's gavel. The room listened like a jury. The espresso machine sighed, plates cooled, a waitress near the register wiped the same clean spot again and again. Outside the windows, early sun flashed on water and glass like camera lights. The woman lowered the phone and faced Maya. "I'm Laura," she said simply. "I work with him. I am sorry for what you faced here. If you're open to it, I'd like to speak with you in private." She glanced at Mia's shaking hands and softened. Maya swallowed. "I'm not chasing money," she said. "I'm tired of being treated like I don't matter." The truth tasted like salt in her mouth. "You do matter," Laura said. Then she turned to the whole diner. "Everyone, this isn't just about today. It's about what we allow on ordinary days." Words like his break. "People. We won't let it slide." She faced Victor again. "Effective now. You are stepping away from leadership." Victor gave a short disbelieving laugh. "You can't do that. You don't have the authority." He looked for someone, anyone, to nod with him. No one did. Laura's mouth was a straight line. 2 weeks ago, the board named me acting chief executive while they reviewed your conduct. They were watching. Today, they got proof." She tucked the phone away like a sealed file. Silence spread. The teenager lowered his phone. Eyes wide. Someone whispered, "No way." A chair creaked. Victor swayed, not from the kick, but from the blow to his pride. "All of this," he said, voice thin. "Over a waitress?" Laura looked at Mia, then back at him. "Not over a waitress," she said. "Over a woman who stood up when no one else did." Mia gripped the counter edge and breathed. She had come to work to earn tips and go home. Now she stood in a storm she hadn't chosen. Laura slid a card across the counter. "Maya," she said softly. "You deserve better than this." Victor's anger flared and burned out just as fast. He snatched up his jacket, muttered a string of curses, and shoved through the door into the bright morning. The glass swung shut behind him. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the sound of traffic bled in from the road. Sleek SUVs gliding past. Drivers headed to glass offices and guarded streets. In the distance, cranes inched above new towers. A gull cut across the pale sky and was gone. Laura turned to the manager. "No one harms or fires her for this," she said. "If there's a problem, call me." She placed her card in his hand and squeezed once. The manager nodded hard, relief in his eyes. Staff, who had been frozen, began to breathe again. Someone wiped a clean table just to have something to do. Laura faced Maya. "I want to offer you a role at our company," she said. "People, operations, and community work, not charity need. We need someone who knows how to stand firm and listen." Maya's brow creased. "I don't have a degree." Her voice was small with truth, not shame. "You have judgment," Laura said. "You have courage. Paper can be earned. Character shows up." She waited, giving space, not pressure. A murmur of agreement moved through the room. The teen by the window lifted his hand. "Miss," he said, shy. Suddenly, the live is everywhere. They're on her side. His phone pinged again and again. Maya looked down at the coffee line she had poured for years. She thought of late buses, second shifts, rent due, and the note that once told her to know her place. She thought of the word she'd heard this morning, and the kick that had left her shaking but whole. She thought of her brother and the fee due next term. "Okay," she said, voice steady now. "I'll talk." Laura smiled, not wide, but true. "Good. Let's step outside." She left a large cash tip on the counter. "For the trouble," she told the manager. "And for your staff." They walked toward the door to a fresh rush of air. The sky was pale and clean over the water. On the road, a black sedan rolled up and stopped. A driver stepped out and opened the rear door. Maya hesitated, then straightened her shoulders and got in. Laura slid in beside her. "Whatever happens next," Laura said as the car pulled away, "you won't be alone." Behind them, the diner burst into new chatter, excited, bright, loud. Someone started clapping again. Someone else laughed, the broken kind that comes after a scare. The cook raised a flour-dusted hand in a small salute through the pass. For the first time in a long time, Maya felt like she could fill her lungs. A line had been drawn. She would not cross back over it. Months later, sunlight spilled across a corner office high above the water. Boats stitched slow lines across the lagoon below. On the wall hung simple frames, not awards, but photos from markets, schools, and health fairs. A small plaque on the desk reader Cole, Director of Community Outreach and Equity. A neat stack of files sat beside a mug that said, "People First." Maya stood at the window, phone at her ear, listening to a woman from a factory describe a manager who shouted and cursed at staff. "We'll come by Wednesday," Maya said. "You're not alone. We'll fix what we can." She ended the call and opened a draft policy. Plain rules on respect, clear steps for reporting, real consequences for people who cross the line, not slogans, actions. She did not think of titles much. She thought of people. She had a team now. Young, sharp, hungry to do right. They held clinics, trained managers, and sat in rooms where decisions were made. When voices tried to talk over them, they kept talking. Laura backed them in every meeting, steady and sure. Sometimes on her way home, Maya asked the driver to stop at the old diner. She would slip into a booth by the window and order tea. The manager always waved. The teen who filmed that day had started a small media page. He liked to brag that a clip changed her life. The staff treated Mia like family. Not like a headline. Now and then, a customer would recognize her and try to pay for her tea. She would smile, say thank you, and pay it forward for someone else. When a new waitress walked in with careful steps and wide eyes, Maya would smile and stand. "Hey," she'd say, gentle but clear. Stand tall. You are worth more than you think. The girl would nod, shoulders lifting as if a weight slid off. Small words, but they mattered. News about that morning had burned hot and moved on, as news always does. But its mark stayed. Victor left the company and faded from view. Laura led with a firm voice and open door. She kept her word to Maya, to the board, to the people who could not afford to be ignored. Policies rolled out across offices and sites, simple and strong. As for Maya, she kept the shoes she wore that day in a box under her bed, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Courage had felt like fear with nowhere else to go. One bold move hadn't fixed the whole world, but it fixed hers and gave her strength to help fix a little more. When fear rose, she laced those old sneakers and remembered where her line was. If this story moved you, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more inspiring and emotional journeys. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We treasure every message from you. Until we return, stay kind, stay hopeful, and stay with us.